Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. I think everyone can see that. Where do you get your BCCRSS? bccrss.wordpress.com. Basically, the gist of this is it's illegal to use a legal name. So we may have all at some point used our legal name, but not knowing that it's actually illegal to do so. This is because we have this birth certificate, and that's the creation of the legal name. And we don't actually have permission to use this name. And so that's how the fraud, that's how we're actually playing an active role in our own suffering, it seems, because we're using this legal name. So this is the little slogan here. Always remember, it's illegal what we're doing to use the legal name. Birth certificate fraud. This clausola rebus sextantibus, if you've looked at the document, there's some Latin in there. So I'll just, we have a little Word document. It's very important to look up and know what these words mean if you want to use this. So this means, it's a Latin phrase meaning things thus standing. It's a legal doctrine in public international law, which allows treaties to become inapplicable because of a fundamental change of circumstances. So basically what's happening here is that when we come across this document, which sets us free, we realize we're going through a process of having a fundamental change in the way that we're viewing our reality now. Let me just quickly go back. I think there's someone else that wants to join here. Stop screen share. No.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, no worries. If you know of anyone else who would benefit from hearing this, you know, just send me an email or something, and we do this once a month. So they're welcome to hear about it. But, you know, in actual fact, people can just take the time and study this. You know, it takes, for some, grasp it in, you know, an instant. Some might take a few weeks to study this on their own and get to know how to do it in real life, or some may take years. So, yeah, it's really up to the individual and where they're at. This information goes hand in hand with spiritual growth, if you will. And so, Michael. Welcome, Michael. Nice to see you here.
I sent out an email.
All right, we just got started, so we're.
How do you pronounce your name?
Ane.
Ane. Okay. Like attaché. Ane. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you record so we can go back and listen?
Yeah, I think I hit record on this one. But it's funny because at the same time, the writer of this document is, you know, infinite awareness itself. You know, this is like God's law. So well, it's funny because the original writer is actually just, you know, consciousness itself. And we'll go into more depth about this later too, you'll see. So it starts with attention, lawyer, judge, government agent, employee, police, common man, etc. So this is why it's important here that the BCCRSS works for everyone and everything, every situation. You can just use this one thing, this one document. You know, we've complicated our lives so much, it seems, with all this paper pushing, when it just works for everything. It's really simple. The truth is very simple. So, etc. So that includes everyone and everything. Now here it says et al, any, all, who serve as a fictional legal name, title, ID, entity. So now we're going to look up here et al, what the meaning of that is. Et al comes from the Latin phrase meaning and others. So it just includes any and all people who serve as a fictional legal name, title, or ID entity. Pronounced phonetically, example, legal enemy. So legal name, here we go to investigate sounding. Name is also me, enemy. This is phonetics, enemy. And title is connected to the Luciferian agenda title. Character in the legal world reality. So the legal world, this reality that has seemed to, clouded our true reality, which is freedom and beauty and love. Somehow, when we got signed up and we got given this birth certificate, it sort of like clouded the reality for us after we were born. And now we're discovering that we can actually set ourselves free, and it's actually our duty, to set ourselves free from this legal, fictitious reality. And now we have the power to do so. So that's good. Author's note, where the author is defined as anyone who uses these words as theirs. So here we come to anyone can use this document, because this document, if you want to use this, then these very words are yours now, where the truth cannot be copyrighted. So the spiritual element of this is that the truth is shared freely. Freedom is here. We can't copyright these things. This is for everyone who wants to set themselves free from the matrix or this slave system, if you will. Merely shared by agreement. So we're all just agreeing on the same thing, that freedom and truth is here. And these words are theirs regardless of who wrote the words. So it doesn't matter really who this person is who wrote it. It doesn't matter. It's yours now, and you can use it as you wish. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Who wrote the words? Consciousness itself, Ab initio is one of those other Latin words. So now we go look up, what does ab initio mean? I got a few more notes here too. So the BCCRSS works for everyone. Read it and know it. If you feel at this point you're experiencing a situation that you can't see how you can indeed use this document, and let's say this meeting has ended, just read it again. Like, keep reading this document, because it sort of like gives you downloads, if you will. There has been, in my experience, some situations where I thought, oh my gosh, I have this document, but I don't know how it's going to work, or like how I can use it for the situation I'm in. But then I kept reading it and I kept reading it, and eventually I found that sentence that I needed to put the puzzle pieces together for me. And I went, oh my God, yes, that's it. And it all made sense. So just keep reading. Or, of course, you can join with someone else who knows how to do this. Join with a brother or sister to mirror the answers to you. This is what we're really doing here. If anyone has any questions, I'm just mirroring your own answers. You find your own answers here. I'm not really doing anything. So there's power in joining with someone else who knows how to do this. There's a bit more about that title. The letter, or L, is often capitalized. The definition of L is an urban railway that operates chiefly on an elevated structure. A train belonging to such a railway, the big stores. So figuratively speaking, if we can all see this image in our minds of how we got tricked by this legal Luciferian system, is that we got tricked, and our divine essence, our money, every time we get a fine, it's like a railway that generates money to the system. It's like a railway that has tricked us into giving away our divine creative energy that we earn in terms of money to this system. It's a railway of finances, if you will. I think everyone can see that. So we're gonna, here's a note here, the fake version of you, the legal name is the fake version of you. It's not what we really are, but it's this fake version that you may not recognize because of ignorance. So, you know, we've been using a name, a legal name, and we didn't realize, so we were in ignorance, yes. Now we're taking responsibility. And it's also causing, this fake version of us causes us to flush our abundance, our money, down the toilet, you know. And all you have to do is change your mind, which again changes your circumstances and changes your identity, which enables you to experience freedom and embody it using this document. So I have the courage to admit I seem to have forgotten who I am, and unknowingly started committing fraud by using my legal name. And I may have gone through a period of blaming the system and hating the system and blaming all the corrupt people. But however, now I see I was always free, and it's my responsibility. It's up to me to set myself free. Now I'm going to consciously stop blaming the system and all these corrupt people that I thought was doing me wrong. And I'm going to live from this free place and use this document. So now we take a breath and we continue. So yes, regardless of who wrote the words, it's infinite awareness or consciousness itself. The ID. Oh yes, this is a funny part. A lot of people who come across this document realize the power of what's being said in the document, and they take it and they get some sort of like God complex, you know, and they go out and they don't give the document the respect it deserves. So they go out and get themselves in trouble by thinking they're all great now. And so it's just a little note here to remain humble while we use this document, because if we're not humble, we're probably gonna, you know, the universe will take care of you. If you're gonna be rude to a cop or a judge and you're gonna get out of your peaceful center, it's probably not gonna work out well. So we have to be graceful while we use this. Ab initio, that was that word, the word over here. Ab initio means from the beginning or from inception. Ab initio is used to indicate that some fact existed from the start of a relevant time period. It's often used as part of the phrase void ab initio, meaning something such as a marriage was void from the beginning. So let's go back here. Regardless of who wrote these words, from the beginning, where truth belongs to all in conceptual. So from the beginning, we were free from the beginning. You know, we were always free. And so it was just this legal system that seemed to trick us again. But this freedom that we inherently know within us is our natural inheritance, you know, is what we deserve here. A quote comes to mind, like, human beings are the only creatures that have to pay to live on planet Earth. You know, it's something like that. It's really funny. It's a really funny thing how we got tricked. But we know the truth. The truth lives in our minds and in our hearts. not the physical written form, effectual. So conceptual reality. We have to know about cause and effect. Now we can do a little checking here. Everything happens in the mind first. So this document is going to change our circumstances. How? By changing our mind about how we live. So first we have to accept, I'm going to be free now, and I'm going to accept this idea. Because if I accept an idea in my mind, then it can manifest. And this is what we see. What we buy as an idea, we see in the world. That's how the internet came about. That's how anything comes about. People say, hey, look, this is an idea. And then we say, yes, I want to participate in this idea. And then we see it happen in the world. And then we have computers and cell phones and all this. So we're just no longer going to be buying the idea that I have to flush my money down the toilet and keep paying for fines and keep suffering in this world. We're not going to say, we're not going to buy into this idea anymore. And then we won't see it happen. It's that easy. So setting ourselves free. Where this writing, now another way of writing could be like this. Writing. We're actually writing our own reality here by saying, no thanks, I'm not playing the game. Or it could be writing is written, spelled out in a language understandable to those in and out of the legal name fraud profession or reality. So judges, lawyers, police, all the people in uniform, we can see that they create this reality. It's like a movie. They're creating a movie. And now in this movie, we can play the role of an actor or an actress that is free. We don't have to play in this movie, in this reality, as the one who suffers. Where the common understanding of this fraud and crime against humanity and creation is visible both in layman's and legal terms. So yes, this is, one of the greatest frauds and crimes against humanity and creation itself. We can go a bit deeper into this later, but basically, creation is infinite and beautiful and loving and free. And so when we think we're a body and stuck in a body one day to suffer and die, this is an illusion. It's crime against creation itself. Creation is actually beautiful. And so this document is, if you read it, it's visible that the crimes, are being exposed in this document. And this is important. It's not to be confused by the intent of the reader. Because what happens at court hearings is that you will go to court and you might say something, but the judge and the people who work for the legal name profession will hear something different. So now we're making it clear here that what's written here is not to be confused with the intent of the reader, where the author's intentions are crystal clear. The intent of this document is to expose the fraud and to let people know that we've had a change of circumstance. The legal world wranglers and twisters of hearings, where it is spelled out henceforth herein with all potentials of phonetics, deception, hereby and therefore removed. So we're removing we are removing this twisting that goes on in courtrooms. And I'll just go back here. The twisters of hearings. So I don't know if everyone knows here that this is just a little example. When someone says, I do not consent, the twisting in the hearing, the judge or the policeman literally hears, I do not, or bind myself. So when we may say, I don't consent to this, we're trying to tell someone else like, no, I don't want this. I want to be free. But this is how, you know, the shit fuckery, sorry for my French, goes on, where judges, cops, and lawyers and all these people literally hear, I want this. I not and bind myself to this. We mean the word not like this. I do not want it, right? But they literally hear the opposite. So, where were we here? Infinitum. So for infinity, we are undoing now all these twistings in the courtroom with this one document. For example, a phonetics deception is where one thing is spoken by a non-bar member, like us, the general public, any and all legal name users without bar affiliations or permissions, only to be respelled differently by any and all bar members under assumption, presumption, to corrupt the original intent. So this is just an example of how it actually happens. The judge assumes and presumes on behalf of the legal system. And yeah, we always intend to be free, but because we were ignorant, we didn't actually know how to communicate this. So they corrupt the original intent of the one speaking versus spelling it out. And why a fraudulent by deliberate design legal name non-bar member has no voice in the legal dead reality. In other words, one's words spoken cannot be altered from the speaker's original true intent as to what they mean versus what one is hearing, what the one hearing the spoken form of the words hears, and then corrupts them and their spoken words by using alternative spellings under the assumption or presumption of the same sound with completely different definitions, using the spelling trickery to undo them and gain the honor advantage where no honor in them exists, and the non-bar member is rendered in a state of perpetual dishonor unknowingly. So now at least it's knowingly. We know at this point now, and let's just have a little bit of a Q&A. I'm just going to go back to the Zoom room, stop share. Does everyone know now that when possibly we have gone to court or when we've tried something and it hasn't worked out for us with the system, that they actually hear their own version of what we say in court? They like twist the words. Is everyone kind of clear on that? Michael, Alicia, oh, Alyssa, sorry, Susan. Yes, great. Okay. Because that's you know, an important point to know. Let's go back here. with completely different definitions. Where were we? Okay, so now at least this perpetual dishonor is forever and ever removed. Great. So judges twist the words in the non-bar member speaking, their own spoken word spoken. They twist it backwards, around, opposes, negates, and corrupts the speaker's original intent to initiate and perpetuate and instigate fraud against them, to enable imaginary crimes. Imaginary crimes. So this is an example of, let's see. Oh yeah, not registering my car. Not registering my car is some dreamt up, fictitious, imaginary crime. And let's say I get pulled over and I don't know who I am. I've never heard about this. I have no idea who I am. So this imaginary crime is going to be sent to my mailing address, and it's going to have a legal name on there. But, and then I feel so scared, and the debt collectors might come and they say, oh, we're calling you to come to court to pay for your sins, to pay us some money, flush your cash down the toilet to fund, you know, the Luciferian agenda. So this is all imaginary. I throw those letters out. They're not for me. So yeah, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you a story. It's up to you. You're creating your own reality. So you're going to go and use this, you know, in whatever ways you feel guided. So they do this to profit from statutory, commercial, rape, and kidnapping, etc. So yeah. Et al, there's that Latin word again. I'll go to what does et al mean? Et al means from the beginning. Oh no, and others, sorry. Oh, and others, yeah. So rape, kidnapping, and all the other crimes. We don't care what crimes they're up to. I don't really concern myself with anyone else's reality. But yeah, they get up to all sorts of crimes with this money that we give them. So this is why court proceedings are called hearings, where spellings is a more precise term for what is really going on. Thus, this spelling it out clearly, where assumption and presumption is rendered null and void, where any and all claiming to be the legal name entity has everyone in the original sin, sign, state of fraud from the creation of and continued use of the legal name that appears on every birth certificate until they remove themselves from the criminal legal reality. So this is what we're doing. We are now removing ourselves from this criminal legal reality, where anyone involved in the enforcement of this fraud using violence, trickery, coercion, and all others to ensnare with intent to enslave another is in fact aiding and abetting a criminal act by forcing another into submission. And this has worked out beautifully. I'll just share another success story. We had someone come to the door a few weeks ago. What is time? It's irrelevant. To serve some papers. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to serve you my papers. Here's the BCCRSS. And the man was like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to wait here at this house because I need to serve these papers. And I said, you're trespassing here, you know, and you're aiding and abetting in a criminal act because you're trying to trick someone. Aiding and abetting in fraud, you're trying to trick someone to use their legal name when they're not the legal name. It's illegal to use a legal name. And so after, 15 minutes or so, he left the property with the BCCRSS and never came back. So yes, I also told him, I said, look, you're working for the sheriff. Go and hand this document to your sheriff and talk about it over a cup of tea or something. It's really a nice read. So yeah, it's not nice. In the beautiful world, we don't force another into submission. We don't have to anymore. To its use where the truth has been exposed and where it's illegal to use any or all legal names or titles ab initio from the beginning. It was always illegal. We just didn't know it, and then we complicated life for ourselves. A typical courtroom drama example. And I'm just looking at the time. We're about halfway. This document's actually 13 pages. So, we'll go as far as we can tonight, and then I'll add you guys into the chat, and we'll just see how we go. It does take a bit of time to know what's being said here, but it's really important that we do. So, a typical courtroom drama example: unwitting legal name defendant really means mind. So when we went into a courtroom before and tried to, stand up for ourselves against the system, it didn't work out for us because we didn't know about the legal name fraud. And therefore, if we don't know about it in our mind, we can't really set ourselves free, truly. So here we go. I do not consent, spoken with the intent of I do not wish to consent, intended where the bar member, aka the judge, lawyer, cop, etc., can and will assume and presume in full or full honor the words phonetically as to how they want to hear it, and has respelled that verbal for ball. They respell the sound. This ball has got, if you want to look a bit deeper into that, has also got to do with the Luciferian agenda. So they hear, I do not consent, where I means yes, affirmative, an agreement, instantly do, as in debt, tacit agreement, not as in tied or bound, an agreement to slavery. And con means both with, for, and against, without, equally as a prefix. Also means thief or criminal in common vernacular terms. So now we're investigating consent. So con, so criminal. The se, we break the word down. This is for study of phonetics. Se is Latin for himself, herself, itself. And ent is a suffix meaning mind. So, in short, the ones perpetuating and profiting from this legal name fraud deception. So, yes, all cops, judges, lawyers are liars. Sorry if you are a lawyer listening to this. I don't mean to be rude. I'm just exposing the fraud. Can hear whatever they choose to hear, and can or will in full honor respell every word uttered at every hearing because it wasn't spelled out by the speaker in writing. That's why it's important just print the BCCRSS off. Once you understand what's being said here, put your case number on every single page in the top right-hand corner. You can even email it, you can deliver it to an office, put it down on the reception's desk, and walk away. It's important to have it in writing so that these things cannot be confused any longer, where it can be respelled by the bar members' criminal intentions to incriminate all innocent and guilty individuals equally, thus painting all of humanity with the same criminal brush they've been painted with, and simply passing a buck to make a buck of sin or sign to another, rewriting by respelling the speaker's words against them to create the bar member / servant by oath advantage every time in every legal reality situation. This deception, criminal enterprise, is over, where the truth itself is all the vengeance one needs in a white flag. This is all we need, guys. This document, this writing, print it off. This is all we need. We're not, you can try use this if you're a criminal. You're not going to get very far with it. The universe is going to take care of you if you actually damage other people's property and damage other people. Life's going to take care of you. But if you're a good human being and you have a good heart and you simply just want to use this to set yourself free, this is all we need. We don't need to get, angry about anything. We just need to print off this document and make sure we act the way that we feel in our hearts. We act gracefully. We're just here telling the truth, waving our little white flag, not getting heated about it, because sometimes when we go into court and use this document, the other people might get heated. The cops, they don't like it when people come in with this document into a courtroom. Okay, so it's very important for us to know the truth and stand in that light, hold the light. So this is the white flag we have, a state of truce, not surrender stance. And where all criminals perpetuating this crime against humanity are now fully exposed for all to see. And this is how you win in the courtroom, because you can, we'll talk about that as well, how to go into a courtroom, what to say, what not to say, what to do. You want to be the one asking the questions, not answering them. But beautiful, how beautiful is that? Everyone can see the fraud now. And once you get high enough, the judges know this game, okay? So they'll they'll abandon the court at some point because they can't play with you if you're not playing the game, okay? They're going to try to say, all you need to do is play the game. All you need to do is tell us that you're the legal name. It's illegal to use a legal name, and that's a legal fact. So, clausola rebus sextantibus, as it pertains to the birth certificates and all other contracts or treaties. I get a lot of questions say, can I use it for this? Can I use it for this? Can I use it for this? Okay, it works for everything, okay? Everything. The BCCRSS works for everyone and everything. It's all inclusive. Let me just go down here. So hear with your eyes and see with your ears. This is just a little, inspiring quote, I guess. We're gonna together now learn how to hear with our eyes and see with our ears. Hereafter shown spelled as CRSS, or in full commonly referred to as the escape clause. This is where, we refer to this document as the escape clause because we cancel, null and void any and all contracts, treaties, anything to do with that legal name. Is null and void if you so wish to make it so by using this document. So, in legal public international law, clausula rebus sextantibus, Latin for things thus standing, is the legal doctrine allowing for treaties or contracts to become inapplicable. Nunc pro tunc, where any and all fraud revealed renders any and all contracts null and void from the beginning. So that means when you reveal the fraud, it's actually illegal to use a legal name, officer. It renders any and all contracts null and void. Just print off the BCCRSS. That's all you got to do. And then execute, implement, and know what to say if you do decide to show up to court. So eliminating all time periods relating to the contract's existence in the first place because of this very important fundamental change of circumstances. I mean, I've paid fines in the past because I was ignorant, but then I had a fundamental change of circumstances and I stopped paying because I realized I was actually committing fraud by using a name that wasn't even mine. Whereas it's illegal to use a legal name. It's illegal to use the birth certificate name where the intent to create a fraudulent third party is evidenced in all birth certificates. There's a lot of videos these days you can watch that explains this too, how the birth certificate fraud works by the very existence of the birth certificate as self-evident. CRSS is especially and fundamentally purposed as an escape clause that makes an exception to the general rule of pacta sunt servanda, promises must be kept, thus removing all prior or previous assumptions and or presumptions, any and all parties, legal and or otherwise, to the contrary, where this fraud was revealed. So let's say, what example can we use? An escape clause removing. It'd be like for long-term contracts. If there's a long-term fraud going on in your life, doesn't matter. It just cancels it all out. So you have to take it for your own situation. Because of the doctrine, because the doctrine possesses a risk to the security, securities aka money, of treaties and contracts, where those profiting from this by design, fraud, by exposing this intent to commit fraud, and those perpetuating it, as its scope is relatively completely unconfined or without borders. And this is what reality actually is. Reality is this beautiful, open, empty space that's unconfined, without borders, pure goodness. It requires strict legal regulations as to the conditions in which it may be invoked, where only those claiming to be legal ID entities within the legal reality confines are concerned, and where one is no longer deemed a legal ID entity thereafter, since this is the last legal act in the common sense of the definitions. So this act of setting yourself free with the birth certificate fraud, the BCCRSS says, oh my gosh, I need a coffee, the BCCRSS. This is your last legal act. This is the last and only thing you need to do is just null and void those contracts and stop using the legal name. It's illegal to use the legal name. This is the last thing you need to do at the end of the road to set yourself free completely. Okay. Of one who was formerly deceived by the legal name or birth certificate fraud. Yeah, I mean, I was deceived by that. But at least now, you know, I'm free. Where it is now known to be fraud. I know that using my legal name, it was never mine in the first place. And I was using it and it was illegal. And where all the different spellings of the word, or sound rather, where the one invoking this clause no longer wishes to commit legal name fraud or any crimes against another whatsoever. Yeah, that makes sense, right? I hope to all of us, or if you have some questions, and me and my own personal experience, I didn't want to commit fraud any longer. So while removing all traces of the former ID entity, the legal name, from theirs and everyone else's reality, regardless of the aiding and abetting attempts of fraud by various Crown Corporation agents. So that's, you know, judges, lawyers, police, to elicit, force, demand, coerce, etc., and all other crimes against any or all who have stated and shown otherwise. What's the time? Oh, 5:45 here where I am. How's everyone doing? I'll stop screen sharing. Does anyone have any questions so far? Are we all on the same page? Do you have any questions about how? I know there was someone here who might have like a specific situation. I'm not sure who it was who wanted to know how they can use this document in their specific situation. Or maybe it has become clear for you right now. And maybe what situations you want to use this in. As long as the golden ticket. I mean, when I use this, I print off the BCCRSS and then I print off the 10 Commandments. And I don't mean to be religious. So the answer to your question, if you want to go research a little bit more, basically I can just say it to you now, but you can check this, that we don't have permission to use that name. So we were born and our parents decided to give us a name, but in the act of registering us and getting our birth certificate, we don't, that birth certificate is owned by the Crown. So they own it. We don't actually have permission to use it, but they tricked us by saying that this is now you and now you should use this name, but it's not actually our name. That's why it's illegal. We're using something that we don't have permission to use. I've never, the main part is just that they see this and run. Anyway, I'll go now. I'm so sorry about you guys all muted. It wasn't my intent at all to have this the way it is, but I'll fix it. I'm still getting used to Zoom. Yeah, we'll keep chatting in a group chat, which I'll invite you all to. I sent out an email as well just before the this meeting started. I do accept donations. I've been doing this for a long time, and for 10 years I've never asked for any donations, but recently it became clear that, you know, I would like some help. So if anyone got anything from this and you think it's beneficial and you have some extra dollars, check your emails. My PayPal is there. if you want to share some abundance with me so I can continue doing these sessions, that'd be great. If not, I know a lot of people are struggling financially. That's completely fine. So yeah, I'll see you guys. Oh, one more question. So you will explain the successes. Yeah, next time we meet, I'll share some more success stories on how this has worked out for people. And does it work in civil cases, criminal court, foreclosures? Yeah, it works for anything and everything in every court. Like there's just one truth, and the truth is that we're all free, and we're just letting people know that that is the case. So it works for anything and everything you can imagine, as long as, and this is very important, as long as you have not damaged any property or hurt someone else. This is just how to be a good person. Everyone should know that. So if you're a good person, use this. If you're not a good person, you know, you can't get away from the world. The world's going to catch up with you eventually. So yes. And there's one exception to the rule, that in some cases, if it's a matter of someone else's safety, let's say, for example, there's a fire burning and there's a child inside a building. If you have to damage the door and break the door to get the child out of the burning building, then this will still work because you're looking after someone else's life, you know. But generally speaking, this document will work if you have not damaged. Cause damage also means losses monetarily to another human being. So you can't necessarily, it's not a good idea to borrow money from a family member and then not pay them back because you're like, oh, well, you know, I don't have to pay you back because I'm not the legal name, so try and sue me. No, the universe is going to take care of you. So you actually have to know how to be a good human being, and then otherwise this will work. So should the person go to court after dropping it off? Well, it's interesting what happens when you do drop it off. What about credit card debts? Yeah, we'll talk about that more. Credit card debts. Okay, thank you. There are a few folks that I know who need this. Brilliant. Car loans. Yeah, interesting. We can't go around just like maxing out credit cards and buying stuff that we think is in our best interest and then try to get out of it, you know. But yes, there's definitely a lot of things that we don't have to be paying for. So yeah, we're out of time, but I'm gonna endeavor to answer these questions next time.